Welcome back to Inside Politics. We're talking about legislative issues with Carrie Wade Gervin of the Nashville Scene and Dave Boucher of the Tennessean. Carrie, there's been a story on the Scene's website, I don't know if it was under your byline or not, that raised the question about whether Democrats ought to get involved in this House Speaker fight, whether it would be good for them to take her out as Speaker, too, if she comes back. But she's actually one of the more moderate Republicans up there. They might get something much worse because they don't, by themselves, don't have nearly enough votes to even come close to electing any candidate.
Yes, that was not a story that I wrote, but it is true. Harwell is more moderate than many of the members of her caucus, and that is and also she is a Nashville Democrat, so there are questions as to why a lot of locals would be pushing to unseat her when the options for Speaker could be much more radically conservative.
Dave, there's another leadership fight coming up in the House where, because Majority Leader Gerald McCormick, who is seeking re-election but is not seeking another term in leadership as Majority Leader, that announcement came as a surprise. Is there anything to why he's stepping away other than he's just had enough of doing that?
Yeah, I think I was a little surprised. He told me on the phone about a month before that he was going to run and he thought it was important. And then, he came out and made this announcement later. He's just said that he's been in leadership for a while, that he's, he wants to spend more time with his family, wants to spend more time with his business. He's also told us that he is not closing the door to running for Chattanooga mayor in 2017, which would be potentially an interesting race against the incumbent, Andy Burke, who used to be in the House as well. As you know,
state senator.
Yeah, excuse me, you're right. And so, as you noted, there's the race for that seat. It looks like right now Representative Sheila Butt has announced her candidacy. I don't think Leader McCormick is going to endorse Representative Butt.
Is he going to endorse anybody?
I don't know. All I can say is he's not going to endorse Representative Butt. He seemed... I think it was posed hypothetically if he were to run against her, if he would win, and he seemed pretty confident that he would have the votes.
Well, Sheila, does this have any of the same undertones or overtones from what happened out of the Jeremy Durham situation? Is this sort of a backlash in some way from that between these two groups we've been talking about before?
But is friends with Durham, is my understanding, and is definitely, she did not vote for his expulsion. I think she just abstained from voting entirely, but she does not have the votes for Majority Leader at this point. Nowhere near close to the votes for Majority Leader.
It's going to be a very crowded race. We've heard names of other people, particularly you would think the House Caucus Chair Glenn Cassida might be a favorite just because of the leadership post he's already in.
I think it could be. It could be. I think if Chairman Cassida gets in, that might prevent other people from getting in. But if he does not get in, then it could go to anybody. If he gets in, that makes the Caucus Chairman race probably a little bit more competitive. But there are a lot of other names floating out there of both, as you said, relatively conservative versus more moderate Republicans who are seeking all of those positions.
Now, given everything that's going on up there, are we seeing some sort of coup or civil war going on in the House among the Republicans? It is a supermajority. Is that what we're fighting over, and is that going to continue into next year?
Oh, the fighting is definitely going to continue into next year, but I think that what you are seeing is also a reflection of strains in the National Republican Party that has resulted in the nomination of Donald Trump as the presidential candidate against, more moderate Republicans such as Jeb Bush and Marco Rubio, whose candidacy
But you don't hear
didn't
lawmakers up there talking about that. They're either all for Trump or they don't talk about it at all.
Exactly.
It's not really a stop Trump versus Trump thing that ever gets discussed up there.
I think it's the same kind of fissures in the party that have led to Trump as a nominee are happening in the supermajority, where you have these very, very right-wing Republicans and some Tea Partiers and then some more moderate Republicans that are more interested in governance as usual.
Jeremy Durham is no longer in the House, but he continues to be in the news because he's under several other investigations. I think your paper is reporting as well, Dave, that he spent quite a bit of money to buy UT football tickets with campaign funds, and that's not supposed to be legal.
Yeah, he spent about $1,000, $950 some on tickets at UT. The law expressly prohibits using campaign funds for personal purposes. There's a caveat in there about, well, you could use the tickets for legitimate campaign or office holder activity. At the time he bought the tickets, he already had lost his re-election race. He's fought in court to say releasing some of these reports has made him an ineffective lawmaker. I think there's an argument to be had that at the time he bought them, he was not purchasing them for a legitimate political or office holder. The intent. We know that he attended a game earlier this year against Florida where he
Got
was
kicked out because he got in a
kicked
fight.
out. Yeah, it sounds like he hit somebody, knocked the glasses off their face, is what he said, according to some video that we've obtained. That does not sound like legitimate political activity. But we're trying to learn a little bit more about how we spent that money. It's also worth noting this is not the first time lawmakers have spent their campaign funds on tickets. We did an investigation last year that showed 7 Democrats that spent more than $30,000 on NBA tickets and on NFL tickets. So this is not necessarily unique.
Carrie, you're relatively new to this area, to coming in to cover this. Are you seeing that politics here is different from what you've covered before, or about the same?
Well, I was a reporter in Knoxville for 4 years, and I did cover the legislature from afar. Lots of
Now you're
from the East Tennessee delegation
Now you're
at the
further
time.
up close. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think that Tennessee politics is I don't know. It's a special state. There are there are a lot of smart people doing really good work and really passionate about the legislation they're trying to get through, and then there are some that I just don't even know what they're doing.
Dave Moore to be coming on the Durham situation, because he's got lots of investigations pending out there at the federal level, the state level, even his attorney's license, and with the Board of Discipline is looking into that as well.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, he's clearly left office. His impact has not been finished, though, and we're going to continue looking at him, and law enforcement is going to continue looking at him.
Dave Boucher, thank you for coming on from Tennessee, and Carrie Wade Gervin from the Nashville scene, thank you for joining us as well. We'll probably have you back in as the legislature comes back into session for real back in January. And thank you for joining us on Inside Politics. Hope you can be back here again for a future show. If you can't get enough politics in the meantime, go to the News Channel 5 website. You'll find my Capitol View commentary there. There's a new commentary posted every Friday afternoon. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you back here next time. Goodbye.